Hello, hello, hello again. It is Dr. Michelle. I'm your confidence coach and the CEO and founder of Courageous Voice Academy. And you are here again for Be Bold Out Loud. You know, every time we get together on Be Bold Out Loud, we talk about breaking through obstacles so that you can lead in your destiny. And I always have just amazing guests who are able to talk about their own stories and talk about and give you strategies and tips on how you can break through. And so that's what we want to do again today because it's all about moving forward, breaking through the things that have held you back so that you can fulfill the destiny that God has designed for your life. So I am so excited today. I have Coach PBJ, and you will know what that means in just a moment. But I am bringing to the stage Coach Paula Burch Jackson. How you doing today?
Hello, hello. I'm fine. How are you?
Doing amazing and so glad to have you here. So I'm not going to delay. I want to read your bio so that our audience can hear the wonderful person you are and the things you're doing. And then I'm excited about the conversation that we'll have. So let me read your bio real briefly.
Okay.
So, Paula Burch Jackson, also known as Coach PBJ, is a transformational life coach, author, and associate broker with Keller Williams. With a passion for empowering individuals to embrace authenticity and achieve personal growth, Paula's coaching program, Coach PBJ Speaks Mindset Makeover, focuses on mindset shifts, shadow work, and embracing one's true self. Her coaching expertise extends to diverse audiences, including women navigating midlife transitions, men seeking personal growth, couples striving for deeper connections, young adults charting their paths and leading in the workplace, aiming for impactful leadership transformations. Paula's impactful coaching style combines wisdom from her bachelor's degree in leadership and administration and her master's degree in human services as a life coach. She is the author of several books, including Life After Death, From Grief to Glory, Keeping It Real So God Can Heal, This Game Called Life, How to Master the Game and Win, Navigating the Waves of Relationships from Calm Seas to Clear Skies. Paula's mission is to revolutionize mindsets, inspire truth seeking, and foster conscious growth in individuals and communities worldwide. Her holistic approach transcends gender boundaries, empowering all individuals to unlock their full potential and lead fulfilling lives. So exciting. You are doing amazing, amazing things. And I'm so excited for our audience to hear from you. So I just want to start out by giving you the opportunity. As you know, we talk about breaking through obstacles to lead in our destiny. So I just want to give you the opportunity to talk to the audience about what is breakthrough for you? What does that look like?
Awesome. I'm glad you asked that question. So when I think about the word breakthrough, I often imagine when the light bulb comes on, when I finally get to realize this is what I've been looking for all the time. Whatever those blockages are in your life, that they'll begin to come down. You talked about in my bio, I do shadow work. And so I'm tell you what that looks like. A few years back, right before I retired from my job, I started noticing myself going from 0 to 100 on a whim. And I'm like, why are things starting to set me off like that? And I start taking ownership of my own thoughts, my own actions, not looking out, but looking in. And what I discovered is that there was a lot of things inside of me that I had suppressed because I did not know how to deal with them. And so I started doing some research and was actually looking at something, maybe a TikTok video or something, of a little baby that was running from her shadow.
Seen
And
that.
she was just running, running. You've probably seen the little video, and
Yeah.
people were laughing at it. But I'm like, that is really a thing. We are really afraid of those parts of us that the world has labeled as dark, right? The dark side of us. But they're all natural emotions that we haven't learned how to deal with. And so when you begin to process and embrace all of you, to me, that's a breakthrough. That means now I'm owning everything about me, and that's my break because now I know what makes Paula tick. Now I know everything about me to me, that's what I look at a breakthrough. And when all the boundaries, all the limits and beliefs, all of those walls begin to come down, and then you begin
Mhm.
to see yourself, for the lack of better saying, through the eyes of God. That's a breakthrough for me.
Absolutely. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And I love that you brought that example and you said we run from those dark parts of our, the dark places. So
Hmm.
when that light bulb came on for you and you began to really work through though and not run from that anymore, were there any particular things that you did that really helped you to push through?
Yes, it's so ironic how God works, right? So as I'm getting these little aha moments about myself, and like I said, anger was my thing, and I've never been growing up. That just was not one of my characteristics. And
Hmm.
so I was actually at my son's house, and I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and she was having a temper tantrum, and she was falling out because she couldn't have what she wanted. And my son didn't respond like my mama responded, right? Rather
Hmm.
than hit the switch to get her up, my, my son walked over to his daughter and he kneeled down before her and he said to her, he says, Annalie, patience. He says, not right now. You can have it, but you can't have it now, okay? She says, okay, daddy. He says, now breathe. And this
Hmm.
2-year-old baby starts saying, I was
Wow.
like, doggone it. And so what I learned that in those moments when my dark side shows up, rather than reacting to it, just breathe through it. And so that's when I began taking my meditation to a whole different level. And I practice what I call my 5-minute meditations. Whenever I'm feeling anything other than joy, love, peace, the good spirits, I'm just like, pause. And I'll say to my husband, oops, I'm having a shadow moment. Let me digress. Let me figure out what this is and let me just sit with it rather than trying to
Hmm.
judge it away, explain it away, just sit with it, allow myself to come down and breathe through it. And then the answer will come. Then I'll discover, oh, that's what that trigger is. And so now I know how to respond to those triggers.
I love that you brought that up because that's one of the things that I try to do as well in terms of when I'm out of kind of my character. I'm like just sitting back thinking like, what's going on? And one of the questions I ask myself is, okay, what happened? Was I in a conversation? Did it trigger a certain emotion? Like really just thinking deeply
Yeah.
about what has transpired that brought me to that moment where I'm feeling very out of character. So I love that, and I really hope that our audience will take that away, that we can breathe through it, right, and then start from where we are to be able to really manage whatever emotion is going on. I mean, we're emotional creatures, right? That's
Right.
going to happen, but we've got to have the capacity to be able to really handle our emotions well. So I love that. I like that shadow.
Right.
That's really
Yeah.
good. So when you think about, and you've written several books, but when you think about obstacles, can you give us just one of the examples that of an obstacle in your life that you were able to really push through?
Absolutely. No. The 4 books that you call the Life After Death was my first book, and it was actually a journal that I just turned into a book in 2006. After coming back from a um, couples retreat, the best retreat I've ever experienced in my life. They called it a couple advance. It wasn't a retreat, and it was just so lovely. My husband and I just enjoyed everything about it. And that was Mother's Day weekend in 2006. Mother's Day, my husband, we came back and he said he didn't want to go visit my grandmother. He said he was tired, so he laid down. Well, he came back. He was still tired. He got up the next day and went to work as usual. Came home. He said to me, I was having some challenges with my allergies, and he says, "You know what? I really loved this retreat." He says, "I think we should teach this to other couples." And I just turned around like a whiplash, like, what? You want to teach something? It was just, I said, oh, you really like that, didn't he? He said, I did. He says, because that's just what we needed in our life. Well, a few hours later, I'm at the emergency room with my husband. He had had a stroke, high blood pressure. And he went into a coma and he never returned. And so that thing happened so fast. And I became instantly a widow, instantly a single parent with 2 teenagers. And in that moment, then I stayed off work the whole summer with my kids. He died right at the beginning of the summer. And I stayed off with them because in my mind, I did not know what that felt like not to have a parent because both of my parents at that time were still alive. So my energy shifted from me, and I just made sure they were okay. And I did whatever I needed to do. Started a couple of businesses there just to make sure that the dreams and aspirations that me and Robert had set in place to Sheena, Katrina, my two kids, Trey and Sheena, would not change. They would still go to college. They would still, nothing would impact their life because life happened, right? And so when I went back to work, my job turned on me. My supervisor said to me that he had had a degree in psychology or something, and in his experience, the stress of the job, along with the stress of being a widow after 20 years of marriage, was not a good match. So he didn't think that I would be a good fit for my position. I'm like, why did they do that at? And I worked for the federal government, and at that time I was a grade 13. And he wanted to put me on a position that was classified as a grade 7. He says, but your money won't stay, won't move, but you don't have that authority to say that I can get paid for a 13 at the grade 7 level. That's not even good use of federal funds. I said to him, I said, you know what? I think I came back to work too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, I got in my car, Dr. Wells, and I drove home. And I'm like, you know what, Lord, you brought me to it. You're going to bring me through it. I don't know what this is about, but I'm telling you, I'm not going back to that job. I said, God, I don't know what you got planned for me. I said, but I'm not going for that job. So I need for you to work this out. Now, this was my husband died in May. We're now in August. So that's how much time I took off work, okay? I
Mm-hmm.
need my kids. And as soon as I said that prayer, my phone rang, and it was this gentleman named Kim Williams who worked at my job. I had applied for a job before my husband died,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a promotion. And he says he was holding that job for me, wanted to know when I was going to come back to work. I said, give me a couple of more weeks and I'll be ready. So I never even had to go back to that place.
Mm-hmm.
So that moment right there, and my kids both went to the school of their choice. I tell the world my kids are bougie. They both went to private school.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with it.
It was not an option, so I let them have their dream. Right now, they're both living their dreams, and so
Love
that's something that I realized at that moment that life will always happen and it will always be hard, but you get to choose your heart, right? And so, no matter what happens in life, we have a choice, and just choose wisely, and just think through the consequences of what will happen, and then know who you have your trust in, your faith in, and you'll never go wrong. And so that's how and so now when life happens, like I said, you just decide this is what I'm going to do. You consider the cost, and then you stay focused, stay the course, and then just keep pushing.
it.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. Oh my goodness. And it's so beautiful how God always he always knows, so he sets things up, right?
yeah,
And if you're right, if you choose wisely, he's
yeah,
already set out the path for you, as hard as it is.
yes,
And I say we can do hard things. We don't want to do hard things, but we can do hard things. And you did a hard thing, and look at what God has done in the midst. So, ooh, thank you for sharing that. That's so powerful. That's so
thank
powerful.
you.
And so, as I talk about being bold, breaking through obstacles, I also talk about
Yes.
leading in our lives, leading towards our destiny. And so, I know you do some things with leadership. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like to lead in your life?
To lead your own life, it's always to start with your own life and start with your own self. Nothing ever happens outside of me. Nothing ever happens outside of the now. So when you're talking about leading, I always say present. I resigned CDC in 2017. I call it Eclipse Monday. That's the day I decided I don't want to do this no more. I found out the word eclipse meant reset. Okay, God, let's reset my life. And that's when I started doing real estate. Well, of course, when the market shift and COVID happened, my history at CDC has always been to lead the recruitment efforts of pandemics. And so this one was huge. So they called me every day, Paula, please come back. We need some help. We need some help. We had to fill all these positions. We don't know who can do it. And then they kind of bribed me because I left 3 years short of retirement. They said, so you can get your retirement. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense because its health benefits was kind of high. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we'll do this. And when I went back, I had to build a team because I had no staff. And so they loaned me a couple of people. And the rumors was that I had all of the people that nobody else wanted. I had the low hanging fruit. And I remember, Michelle, I believe that there's greatness in everybody. But as a leader, it's my job to look past the seen until the unseen, right? And to be able to hear the noise outside of the voice, right? And so I remember saying, okay, that's cool, but watch me turn them into superstars.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I sat down and I also had to recruit people, and the virus was killing people, so I didn't have time to look for the best. I went through resume, and if they had some keywords that I was looking for, I called them and hired.
Right.
This one lady, she was like, "Are you interviewing me?" I said, "Oh yeah, I am doing that," because it was just that's the week I had to move. And I
Yes.
brought them on and I looked for what their strengths are, right? And then, okay, well, that's what I'm gonna have you doing. So I totally changed the way they did work for my team. We just wasn't gonna follow the process because we didn't have time for all of that. And so I let them operate in their own passion because we're adults, right? And so you know what your passion is. And when we're working and we're doing things that we enjoy doing, we're not working, we're having fun. And so I allowed my staff to have fun. And I wanted to make it that. And I said to them, I don't believe that in adults, we should always treat adults like they're adults. And I believe that adults should always have an example, a say in their own life. And so I gave them that. I respected them, and then therefore respect came back to me. So when you're lead, the we often hear the saying, "You treat people the way they want to be treated. You want to be treated." But I believe you treat people the way they want to be treated. And the
Mm-hmm.
only way that you're going to be able to do that is to get to know them, have a conversation, and hear them with both of your ears. And when I say that, that means listening attentively, leaning in, because I really want to hear you. That's why we get into coaches, right? So that we can really hear people,
Mm-hmm.
hear what they're saying, but hearing what they're not saying. And when you're looking attentively, you can hear that. So leading to me is just doing that, being compassionate, hearing about other people, and making sure that you're being the example, being what you want to see in the earth, to be that, to show up that way myself. If that makes sense.
Yes, it's beautiful. And I think what I hear also is that when you allowed them to operate in the areas where they were passionate and where their strengths lie, then you're allowing them to lead in their lives. They're not
Oh,
having to,
yeah,
to do something that's outside of what they enjoy doing. And that's so critical. So many people are just going to a job, going through the motions, have no passion, just feel like they're just struggling to get through day to day. And so you really empowered them to
absolutely.
operate in
My
your
inspiration, that was a movie, Beyond the Lights. I don't know if you ever saw
hmm
that movie.
I
And
don't
then,
think so.
okay, you gotta look at it. You're gonna love it. Just one scene you gotta see. In
Hmm.
this movie, this young girl, she grew up and she was a singer. Her mom got her into singing. And so she started singing as a little girl in competitions and everything. So now she's in the big time singing, but she was miserable with her life. And so in one of the scenes, she was getting ready to attempt to commit suicide. And the bodyguard that they had signed for her, the security guard, he saw her and he grabbed her just enough time before she went over that balance. And now she's holding on for life. And he looks down at her and he says to her, I see you.
Hmm.
And just that one little thing changed her whole entire life, gave her reason to want to live. It gave her reason to want to embrace her life her way. And so I was like, that movie, and sometimes that's all people want is to be seen. And so as a
Right.
result of that, and I always encourage, I used to call it Thankful Thursday. And we would have Tuesday would be our serious meeting. We were talking about work. Thursday would be our Thankful Thursday meeting. I don't want to talk about no work. You got to have your camera on. I want to see you. I want to make sure that you're okay. I need to see you. And we would laugh. We would have fun. And that would be our just woosah moments. And so, like I said, even now, they're like, when you coming back, baby? I'm not. I'm sorry.
Right. I know, I know. Somebody asked me to talk about the most impactful supervisor I'd ever had, and that just came to mind as I was thinking about the people that work for you. You were probably are the most impactful supervisor they've ever
Right.
had because of just what you're saying. You allowed them space, time. You saw them. You allowed them to operate in their strengths and in their passions. I mean, there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better
And I
than
like that you said I allowed them to lead in their own life. I
Absolutely.
could not have said that better. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Well, just a couple other things, just as we kind of move towards our conclusion. So, I talk about destiny, and you shared about your story, about your husband, your children, and we don't always have the clear view of what we don't have the clear view of what path we're going to have to take to get to our destiny. But as you think about that word destiny, what are some things that you can share with tips you can share with our audience to continue to press toward their destiny, even if they can't see fully what they're moving towards?
How do they press for their destiny? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what comes to mind when I think about the word destiny is Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. Okay. There is a perfect plan that was orchestrated for your life even before we were in our mother's womb. But what happens is life happens. And so we get our parents and our those who influence our lives, and they shape us into who they think we should be. In order for you to get to your destiny, be true and honest with yourself. Know your own truth. And sometimes you'll say that, Dr. Wells, and people will be like, it ain't nothing but one truth. No, I just don't believe that truth is an absolute,
Mm-hmm.
because it depends on you with your faith. It's so many factors into it. There are some absolute truth, of course. What goes up must come down. That's an absolute truth. But then when it comes to my life, what's true for you may not be true for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so decide, what is it that floats your boat? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that brings you joy? And be okay if what it is does not look like what mine look like, because it will not. And understand this, when you look at our body and our makeup, right? We sometimes we compare ourselves with other people, and we think that because they're over there doing that and they've got all the glams, they got the glitters, they got the lights, that that's what's most important. But when you look at this shell and how we're made up, the most important part of us, you can't even see it,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
right?
That's right.
Live without your lungs, right? You
Right.
live without your liver, about those inside parts of us that keeps us going. So there are some people out there that they are the heartbeats of this world, and it's something unique for them to do, and they're the only person that can do it. But it doesn't show up like everybody else, so they kind of shy away. They feel like they're not important. But I want you to know that you are important. You are more important than the people that you're seeing that they're the heads, what we call the heads, right? And so just whatever your truth is, what is it that you're doing? If you don't know, just try some stuff. Try what you think. When I often work with my clients, I have them to make a circle on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have them to write down everything they've ever done, everything they think they want to do. Just write it down. And then look at that whole list, and which one of those makes your belly leap, makes your heart flutter. Which one of those things? Then go try it. Who knows? That may be the it. But also the things that we were called to do in that Jeremiah 29, we're already doing it. We just don't know that it's a thing. When I discovered that coaching was a thing, my mind was blown. I'm like, really? People get paid to do that? That's what I do all the time. Right? I love encouraging and motivating people and allowing people to see themselves in my eyes. And I just did not know it was a thing because it's such a natural part of who I am. So
Mm-hmm.
was able to be able to give a voice to that is why I ended up going back, because I wanted to understand that whole thing, and that's how I ended up getting my master's there. But so whatever your destiny is, and if you're not sure, just keep pressing, keep trying new things, keep and living your truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that. And it is so true that we are experts at whatever it is we're destined to do. We just don't realize it.
That we
And
don't
so
know.
we're doing the things, whatever that is, but we don't know that we're that expertise that we have. We need to channel that and
Yes,
really feed into and serve others with that expertise. And so, and
yes.
I see and hear that that's what you're doing beautifully. So I am so just overwhelmed with this conversation because this has just blessed me so much.
Awesome.
Um, so just as we think about what you shared today, doing the hard things, like we all have hard things in our lives,
Hmm.
but when we really look at the stop running from the shadow and really
Yes,
look inside, we recognize that we can do those hard things. And then the strengths, the passions, that's what empowers people. That's how you've shown people how to lead by allowing them to operate in their strengths and their passions, and then telling people live your truth,
Your truth.
because your life, what's true for you is not true for me. But
Absolutely.
live your life the way that God's designed for you to live your life. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So,
Amen.
Coach PBJ, Coach Paula, would you share with people how they can get in touch with you if they want to connect?
Absolutely. I can be found on my website is coachpbj.com. That is Coach PBJ. And I often say not peanut butter jelly, but Paula Burch Jackson.com. My you can also reach me on social media platforms at Coach PBJ or Paula Burch Jackson. And then, of course, you can always email me at lifecoachpbj@gmail.com. And my business number is 404 803 7159. I would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, I am so honored that you said yes today to come and to just share your heart. I know that people have been helped. I have no doubt in my mind because I've been helped. And so I just really want to say thank you. I appreciate you for being here, and I hope that people will take these nuggets that you've given and really be bold, break through their obstacles so that they can lead in their destiny. So thank you for joining us today.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So thank you all for being here again for Be Bold Out Loud. I'm telling you, if you're not walking away today filled up with some nuggets and some things that can help you to really move forward, then I'm not sure how else to help you, because Coach Paula has really poured into us today. Take ownership of your life, be the leader of your life, step into your passions, walk in your strength, and know that what God has for you is for you. And so don't let anybody keep you from being bold and breaking through those obstacles. Don't be afraid of the shadows, right? Don't be afraid of those shadows. Really work through those dark places so that you can be light to other people, because there are people that are out there ready for you to show up, and ready for you to serve. So break through the obstacles, lead in your destiny. Thank you for being here on Be Bold Out Loud once again. I am Dr. Michelle Wells. I am your confidence coach, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next time that we meet. Thank you so very much. You go and be bold out.